Today, two men spoke publicly for the first time since this war began 13 days ago. The first man appeared on a video call from an undisclosed location in Israel. He looked tense. His words came quickly. Again and again, he repeated the same word, crushing. He said Iran was being crushed. He said Israel was stronger than ever. He said the new supreme leader of Iran was a puppet who could not show his face in public. Then he said something even more direct. Regime change, he said, was the goal. He told the Iranian people that the moment of truth was close, but he also told them something else. He said that in the end, it was up to them. It was in their hands. That man was Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. It was his first press conference since the beginning of the war 13 days earlier. The second man did not appear on screen at all. Instead, a message attributed to him was read by a news anchor on Iranian state television. While the statement was delivered, a photograph of his face appeared on the screen. The voice reading the message was not his. He has not been seen publicly since the first day of the conflict. That day, an airstrike hit the compound where the previous supreme leader lived. Several members of the family were killed in the attack. Reports say the new leader survived but may have been wounded. His location has not been publicly confirmed. That man is Mojtaba Khamenei. At 56 years old, he is now the new supreme leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran. This was the first public message attributed to him since he was named to the position only days earlier. Many observers expected this first statement to signal either defiance or the beginning of negotiations. Instead, the message contained strong language about continuing the conflict. The statement spoke about honoring those killed in the war. It also warned that the Strait of Hormuz could remain closed. The message included demands for changes in the regional military presence of foreign forces. It also suggested that new areas of confrontation could emerge if the war continued. These words immediately changed the tone of international discussions about the conflict. For many governments, the hope had been that leadership changes in Iran might open a path toward negotiations. Instead, the statement suggested that tensions could continue for some time. At the same moment these messages were circulating, global leaders and analysts were trying to understand what the leadership transition meant for Iran's political structure. The strategy many observers believed was being tested involved removing the country's longtime leader and hoping that the system surrounding him would weaken. The theory behind that idea was that the supreme leader held a unique role within Iran's political and religious structure. Supporters of that theory believed that without that central figure, the system might fracture. Some analysts thought internal divisions could appear. Others believed protests might expand. But events unfolded differently. The government institutions remained intact. Military operations continued. Missile launches and defensive actions occurred within hours of the initial strikes. And while Iran has experienced protests in the past, large-scale political uprisings did not appear during the first days of the conflict. In wartime, public reactions often differ from those seen during peacetime protests. National identity and external pressure can reshape internal dynamics. For leaders in Washington and other capitals, the situation has created a complex challenge. Ending a war requires a framework both sides can accept, but strong public statements from both sides can make compromise more difficult. Political leaders must also consider domestic pressures. Energy prices have risen sharply since the conflict began. Disruptions to shipping routes have affected global markets. The Strait of Hormuz remains one of the most important energy corridors in the world. Any prolonged disruption there has worldwide consequences. Meanwhile, the political landscape in Israel is also shaped by domestic considerations. Public opinion during wartime often rallies around national leadership. At the same time, elections and long-term strategy remain part of the political calculation. Military support systems across the region are also under pressure. Air defense systems require constant resupply. Each interception of an incoming missile consumes equipment that must eventually be replaced. These logistical realities influence how long large-scale operations can continue. While these strategic debates continue, one of the most striking features of the moment is the absence of the new Iranian leader from public view. His message was delivered through television. There was no video appearance, no speech recorded directly. Security experts say that leaders in active conflict zones often take extraordinary precautions, especially when they believe they could be targeted. Operating from undisclosed locations can be part of that security strategy. From those hidden locations, orders and messages may still be transmitted through official channels. This situation creates an unusual dynamic. One leader speaks publicly in press conferences and video calls. The other communicates through written statements delivered by broadcasters. Yet both messages influence events across the region. The statements delivered today reveal something important about the stage this conflict has reached. Early expectations that the war might end quickly have faded. Instead, the conflict has entered a period defined by competing narratives and uncertain outcomes. One side speaks of victory and pressure. The other speaks of resistance and continuation. Between those two positions lies a complicated geopolitical landscape. Energy markets, military alliances, and diplomatic negotiations are all moving at the same time. For the millions of people affected directly by the war, the consequences are immediate and serious. Large numbers of civilians have been displaced. Cities and infrastructure have been damaged. Humanitarian organizations are monitoring conditions closely. Investigations into specific incidents continue. These realities exist alongside the high-level political statements delivered to global audiences. For now, the messages delivered on this day suggest that neither side is ready to step back. The war that many expected to end quickly has instead entered a new phase, a phase where leadership transitions, political calculations, and military strategy are unfolding simultaneously. One leader appeared on a screen and spoke about victory. The other remained unseen but issued a message about continuing the struggle. And between those two statements lies the uncertain future of a conflict that is still shaping events across the Middle East and the world.